Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we can sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux. I'm Vince Stone. That is Joe Bryant, and over there is Pedro Mateus, and everyone at home watching us live on Twitch. Thanks for showing up. We got quite a little bit of a show to get to this week. I am all over the place right now because I've been playing around with numerous things in the studio because, well, I'm kind of me. And also, I don't like things that don't work. And so I've spent the past couple of days putting NetJack 2 in what I like to call obedience mode. I found out some things. I'll probably even do like an article because somebody needs to document this properly in order to get Sonobots working correctly with latency reporting because I really want to work that into the show, and it's a neat piece of kit. But on top of that, I got a brand new router in the rack back here. It is adorable. More on that at 11, and some new audio plugins. So if you happen to tune in for Spicy Fire, you might get one during this week's episode. Man, what's going on over there in LA, Jill?
Oh boy. So gosh, so much. One thing is I'm hashtag Ubuntu testing week, for Hirsute Hippo beta actually starts tomorrow. So it's the April 1st through the 7th. So I'm going to take part in that and enjoying being on the Telegram group and finding some bugs in all the Ubuntu distros. And gosh, I'm still working on my room. As you can see behind me, the companion cube has been put away and lots of other things. And also this last weekend, I missed Linux Gamecast, so I've got to go back and watch the VOD because me and my husband went and attended SoundQuest Fest. It was a virtual electronic music concert with the pioneers of electronic music, like Steve Roach and Michael Stearns. A lot of them, you may not know their names, but they've done soundtracks. So,
Steve took you away from live LGC?
Yes, he did.
Hey, Steve. Steve. You're dead to me. What's new over there?
Yeah. Over here, I'm still playing around with the old new netbook, or new old netbook, however you want to say it. I've managed to get everything that working.
Hold that up again. I want everyone to see what a regular, ordinary netbook with a body kit looks like.
That's a pretty one.
Yes, it's quite shiny. Yes, the touchpad is broken. The right click is stuck down. It's not the actual button itself. It's either something in the PC for the touchpad itself or the cable, or it could be something in the motherboard. I'm not sure, but it seems to only manifest itself when the touchpad is enabled. So if I disable the touchpad, it goes away. The webcam, I know for a fact that it's broken, and someone deliberately, or maybe not deliberately, but someone actively broke it because the connector is broken, and I can see two of the contacts overlapping each other. So that's dead.
Maybe they were just leaving you a mystery, like a little clue that you can solve.
Yeah, no, that's the webcam will need the whole new camera module, which I don't mind the camera not working. That module is also what gives the thing the suspend/sleep. If you put the lid down, that's where the switch is. So if that's not working, there's no sleep. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, now I know what to...
Well,
to going on eBay and finding teeny tiny little bits to fix things. Yeah.
All right. Nothing like hunting eBay junk. Did you put a monitor into it? I thought
so much fun.
Didn't you put a new screen?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I also replaced the 1024 by 600 screen with a 1366 by 768, which is it's one of the Samsung panels that Dell uses for the Dell Mini 10-inch laptops.
Okay.
Which the connector is actually on the other side, but that doesn't matter because the cable is long enough, so you could just and it works.
Nice.
Pretty neat. Well, I think we're ready to try to get into the show. This is like, this is how I feel right now. All right, I'm just going to go ahead. just let everyone know.
I'm in danger.
We're going to try it. And we're going to start off with something that is probably equally as dangerous, everyone. Maybe not. Maybe it's overblown. But Linus doesn't seem to think that it's not bad.
He's giving it a bit of a curious look, that's for sure. Linus Torvalds and Greg Crow-Hartman weigh in on how to best integrate the Rust language into the Linux kernel. Basically, they both seem to agree that the main obstacles on getting the Rusty boat to integrate with the great big C is how the actual bridge between Rust and C is going to work, and drivers. Because drivers, it kind of makes sense that you have drivers written in C, so they're pretty low level, minimum latency. The kernel can address them very quickly because written in the same language. That makes sense. And then you introduce Rust, and I can see why, because Mozilla did a very good job with the Rust, and everyone seems to like it. But yeah, I can see why the integration of making the kernel support stuff built in Rust could be a bit of an issue, specifically with drivers. But yeah, that I do look forward to what they come up with, because there's a lot of stuff getting built in Rust. So yeah.
Yeah, this is actually really great. And I'm so happy that Linus is, thinking about this and realizing, yeah, this can contribute a lot to the kernel. And, having memory managed drivers is, I think, a really great idea and can increase the speed of the OS tremendously. And there's even been OSs written in Rust. One is the Redux OS, which I've played with, which is a Unix-like operating system written in Rust that runs really great on older machines. So this can actually increase the speed of Linux overall in the kernel and all the core utilities. I think it's a good idea.
I know exactly where I'm at.
That could be very nice.
Rust is an interesting piece of kit. I've played around with it, and it's a new hotness for good reason. It absolutely is, but I like this approach because if you look at Rust, there's still a lot of like standard-wise stuff that needs to be hammered down. It's a little bit of a flux. So I like that we're not ruling anything out. It's like, hey, it can happen. Just baby steps.
We don't know how yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, good on them. Good on them. Well, did you think we would ever be talking about this? We're going to talk about, that's right, NVIDIA's coming up, isn't it, right, Linus? That's right.
In an official capacity, yeah.
GeForce GPU Passthrough for Windows Virtual Machine. It's in beta. And that's right, NVIDIA has enabled the GPU Passthrough support for a Windows Virtual Machine on GeForce GPUs. Now, what does that mean? Basically, if you get customers wanting to run a Linux host, they'll be able to launch Windows Virtual Machine to play games or anything else that's going to require 3D and stuff like that. And game developers wanting to test code in both Windows and Linux on one single machine. No more of that pesky, just not having a Linux machine and publishing it to Steam anyway.
What are you talking about? The export button's amazing.
I don't know. I'm going to say the difficulty on this, this is a strange time to do this, NVIDIA, because you're going to need 2 unavailable video cards. I
think this is more that people who already have, say, an Intel CPU or a Ryzen APU with built-in graphics, you just plug your monitor directly into the motherboard and pass that particular PCIe port to the VM. I think.
Speaking of VMs, you're only going to be able to use this on one VM, unless, of course, you have a Quadro or a Titan. That makes sense. And when it comes to support, basically anything with the R465 chipset above that works with that driver, you're going to be fine. 100%. Now,
yeah. Well, this is really nice for bare metal gaming in Windows virtual machine. But honestly, I use VMware, and that actually does a nice job of exactly this, allowing you to play games and run software in a Windows virtual machine,
Virtual
just
GPU.
using one
Yeah.
GPU. So
Yeah, their virtual GPU is very, very nice.
very nice.
Yeah, no, let's see, level 1 techs forums, there's always a bunch of people talking about VFIO, and everyone seems to be in agreement. It's like, yes, AMD is the best option because you can. They just let you. Because, putting blockades in place at software level would require AMD to do something with software for once in their life. But this is different. This is what's next? Are NVIDIA going to open source the RTX implementation of Quake 2?
Absolutely.
Oh. Yeah, they actually did, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Deal with it. You're just going to have to hang on to your NVIDIA haterade. NVIDIA's the greatest Noah. This was just like a weird thing. Now, I've never been interested in like setting up. I don't have any use for Windows. I'm not saying there's like Windows is stupid. It's just that seems like a lot of work. But I guess if you wanted a box, and I can definitely see it from a development standpoint to do both seamlessly, now it's a legitimate option on NVIDIA, which is good. Good to see. Happy to see it. I want to talk about pipes. OBS and pipes. A couple of weeks ago, I just went ahead and threw it out. I'm like, hey, check this out. OBS, we're getting the infrastructure put in place for Wayland support, but you're going to have to deal with it. Wayland's coming. It's the future. I feel it in my bones. It's time for real. It's like,
yes, 10 years from now.
Not 10 years from now. It's like 9 years from now. The doomsday clock is when...
The doomsday clock is now at 23:58.
So, in preparation for that, OBS, and we got the Wayland stuff in there. Now, we got the Linux capture set up for PipeWire, because that was part 2 of my question. Hey, when are we going to get that? Here it is. And it's neat, man. So if you mix this with the Wayland support, this is probably all going to make it into the next release of OBS. This is going to allow you to get your audio video capture from Wayland, kind of like you currently do with X11, without much hassle, which is great.
Nice.
That's neat. That's going to be very welcome. That is really going to help with adoption. As soon as you release those drivers, NVIDIA, maybe I'll play with it.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed is that the person who submitted it, George Stravakis, he included some code from Martin Graceland, which I used to kind of creep on in Google Plus, because he's or was, I'm not entirely sure, because the copyright notice there says 2014. So this is old code that the repurposed. But yeah, no, I want to know if Martin's still around and still doing things, because as much as I creeped on him, he did a lot of great stuff for KDE, and I'm still using KDE, so it'd be nice if he was still around. Yeah. That was what stood out to me.
It's going to be a thing, and I mean, I've always wanted to play around with Wayland, but I'm an NVIDIA shell, therefore I've been denied. Fun times. Now, what do we have up next? This looks dangerous.
We have a bit of a core advantage, as it were.
Yeah.
It's core advantage. It is a GUI for basically tweaking the Coreboot firmware options directly from the operating system. This is something that several motherboard manufacturers are starting to offer. Over in Windows land, you get OS level tools to access the UEFI settings. Unfortunately, the Linux, once again, gets nothing. Except for the fine folks who are working with Coreboot and LibreBoot and trying their best to get old laptops, because right now that's the best way to actually get some physical hardware. Unfortunately, because, SMD shortage. But yes, it is very good, not just to test, but to introduce new things and make Coreboot better. And hopefully in the future, I hope to see Coreboot and LibreBoot support a lot more laptops. And by the time that it does, we're going to need stuff like CoreVantage, like the ability to switch and poke at things directly from the OS and then just rebooting. Yes.
I like the idea, I like the concept. Now, this has only been tested to work with a ThinkPad X200 running the latest version of LibreBoot. So it's kind of... I'm not that brave. That's what I'm saying. I'm not that brave.
Yeah. And, this is so awesome because it's one of the many advantages that the open source Coreboot BIOS has over proprietary BIOS is that you can actually make your own software to access it. So we need more of this. We need more software that does this on Linux for sure.
I like the idea, but we were talking about this, I think, in the after show on Saturday. Like, man, I don't update BIOS on anything anymore. It's like, you want to know what version of what BIOS I'm running on the 2060 NVIDIA? Whatever it came with, that one. The only reason I would update a motherboard BIOS is, which I did for this one, is because to make things work. If something's not broken, I don't mess with it. I like the option, but I am not that brave. I'm not a BIOSy person. I don't want to.
Yeah, no, in the age of Ryzen, the whole concept of updating the BIOS has been demystified a little bit.
It has.
Just because you've had to do it.
Yeah.
I bought the first gen
an issue.
Ryzen 1700. Yes, I became intimately familiar with the MSI BIOS and all the settings and that, just because it was rough. People forget that first gen Ryzen, it was probably like 8 or 9 months until after release before things were settled down, and it just wasn't doing legitimately bizarre things at random. So, yeah. This is available for Arch Linux and Ubuntu 2004 and 2010. Neat. Yeah. Very happy to see that. Oh, we're talking about phones again? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. The Pinephone again.
Yeah, the Pinephone again. So now you can actually pre-order the Pinephone Beta Limited Edition, running Linux, of course, for $149.99. And, we've talked about before that Manjaro Linux with KDE Plasma Mobile is now the default OS installed on the Pinephone. And that is actually really cool. But of course, you can easily put on any Linux mobile OS you would like. And what's really cool, I was really happy to see, you can still buy the convergence package, like the previous Alpha Community Editions. That includes the USB-C dock for $199.99. And I was very happy about that. Yeah, an extra gig of RAM. And I wasn't sure if they were going to include that when they switched to Manjaro on the beta, but they did. It's awesome.
Yes, and the specs are still the same. It's a 1440 by 720, 18 by 9 screen. It's the all-winner A64 1.2 gigahertz big cores and the Mali 400 MP2 GPU. Yes. And then, there's the option. The $150 one only has 2 gigs of RAM, and the other one has 3. We
want 2 more. No.
Yeah. How about 4 for 200?
Yeah.
4, because I already spent 250 pounds-ish on the Pinebug.
Here's my question. How good is the camera in these?
Yeah.
I have no idea. It's a 5 megapixel camera. That's
I was going to say 5.
5 megapixel at the back and
probably 2.5 at the front.
Just 2, yeah.
Because I'm not necessarily in the market to pick up a new mobile device, but $150, if I could get something that could take okay pictures and half decent video, I would have it in the studio just for that, for a quick, like, hey, here's the thing. Look at that. Instead of
You're going to need a lot of
out.
lights.
Yeah.
I already do that.
Yeah, you already have the. If you already have the lights, then okay, I suppose.
I would like something that didn't require the floodlights.
Oh, well, this might.
The
optics are probably not that great.
Still, at $149, just
still
pick
amazing.
one up, play with it. It might be good.
I am looking for a new phone, but I don't want to pay that much for a beta. No.
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 Fine.
I'd rather buy something that's established and about £50 cheaper.
No, you buy another junky laptop off eBay.
No.
Well, I might do that too, but
Well, I was actually thinking of this phone for Steven. I think he would enjoy it. He's getting sick of all the.
Steve's not going to be happy until you give him a jitterbug.
Yeah. No.
Jitterbug.
Actually, those are nice. The ones that are full smartphones are actually pretty good.
They just got the one app on it that you press.
Yeah. The big icons.
Okay. This, not really Linux related, but it was too cool not to include.
Yeah, so this is really cool because this is actually a link to Google News in basic text only HTML. And for those of us who own vintage computers or low-powered computers that don't surf the internet very well, this is a welcome thing that we've actually needed to access Google or any of the Google sites, honestly. And what's cool is it was tested on Netscape 1.1 through 4, but will work nicely, of course, in Lynx, eLynx, or W3M on console. And I was really excited because my 68K Mac here, SE, my Mac SE behind me, and my Atari ST and Amiga, actually, thank you. But I have a little uniqueness in my Mac SE. It also boots Linux.
One of the things I really liked about this, outside of just being, hipster-tastic, is it's super lightweight. But check this out.
Yes.
Check this out. If you go to the store, you just get some flat text.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I say that in the world of like
So
takeover
nice.
Pages to subscribe, scrolling down a little bit, video showing up, scrolling down some more, the video shrinking and following you to make sure that you close it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just text. That's amazing. That is genuinely amazing. And I saw at the top it says US edition, and there's a change button so you can pick your region to have a look at the news that are more relevant to you. So my question is, what happened to the Spanish provider?
Yeah, you were having issues with that.
No, not really. See, the Portuguese person in me went just like, okay, is Portugal still working? Yeah, Portugal's still working. Suck it.
What?
The Portuguese, old Portuguese mentality in me.
The only thing I took out of that is you're still absorbing innocent Portuguese people.
Technically, I absorbed the one myself. Some random 30-year-old Portuguese dude that showed up in England.
Every time he feeds.
Aww.
Still only counts as one. You're worse than Gimli.
It's
just one at a time.
Aw.
Okay.
But thank you to Action Retro for this this link, this URL that lets us
Whoa, what was that?
ooh.
We're still going.
Okay.
Loud noises and bright flashes. Lots of them.
Yeah.
So up next, let's talk about Linux application level firewall. It's based on eBPF and NFQ. Okay.
It is inspired by OpenSnitch, and at this point, according to the developer, it is Schrodinger's OpenSnitch because very clearly stated, this is an experimental project. The security of this application has not been audited by a third party or even myself. So it is, right now, it's, just go play with it, go kick the tires, don't try it on your company servers. But yes, it is a firewall, software firewall. Go play with it.
Yeah, it is really cool. I mean, this is a lot like iptables and Firewall D, but for container apps. So that's interesting, actually.
You are going to need Linux 5.8 or above. That's pretty much it, man. You can do it, sudo. All right, no problem there. I don't know, GUI firewalls, man. Where are we at on firewalls? Does anyone okay, first question. Does any distribution outside of RHEL and Cent ship with a firewall on?
Wait, in RHEL and Cent, are you including Fedora?
Yeah, Fedora does. Yeah.
Sure.
Because that one does.
Yeah.
I said distribution, not experiment.
Distribution.
At this point,
we know Debian
CentOS is more of an experiment than Fedora.
Yeah, both Debian and Ubuntu don't have it.
Susie,
running
you
by
can
default.
set up Firewall D, but it's not there by default.
So outside of the Red Hats, I've never really ran into that, and everything just being wide open. I guess maybe that's handled by your routers these days, or your firewall appliance, your PFSenses, and all the other stuff that people probably don't have in the first place or improperly configured. This might be something if you like the GUI stuff. If I did tango around with UFW. That's wicked simple to use, but this looks like it'd be even simpler. But I do want to thank Arthurian, who's in chat right now. He dropped that in the Discord
nice.
little section we have for show notes, and I saw that. I'm like, hey, let's give this project a mention, man. Maybe you want to play with it. Maybe it does something too. I don't know. I think I got a router to fight with. So,
oh, come on, introduce a software firewall in between you and the router. So there's always a bit of a buffer, and you're not entirely sure. Is it the router? Is it the firewall?
Yeah.
I was kind of doing that, man, when between NDI and trying to, it was bad time, kids. Bad times, but we powered through it. So we got a slice of pie to get into. Before we do that, we want to thank each and every one of you who are making this show possible. That's how we pay the bills over at patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. There we go. I don't know where I was going with that other than cats. Cats. Yes. Linux Game Cats. We've only done
Our CGI is slightly better.
We've only done
Just
one pilot episode. If you do that, we get some extra rewards and stuff. Go check it out. And if you want to help us out, that is the way to do it. Come hop in Discord. Come say hi. All the other fun stuff. We got a little bonus show. And yeah, it's there. Thank you for being awesome. I do have someone I got to thank because we have, I got this wall behind me. I don't just randomly write names on this. Believe it or not, I don't.
No, those were the names, the chosen names of the people who decided to contribute to the studio. Yeah. Believe it or not, Noctilus.
If anybody picks some nasty stuff up for us to play with, for us to experiment on, the Linux way, name's up there. And, or not. Because sometimes people are like, yo, don't tell anyone. I'm like, gotcha. Not a problem. I'm going to send a message back before I put this because sometimes we end up with full names, which I'm like, whoa, I'm not putting that on the internet. I'm just going to say John. I want to thank you, John, because, and send me a message, John. I'll send you a message too. If you want to be like John or somebody else, if you see Balmer Slayer 9000 on the board next week, that'll be John. I don't know if he's going to, it might be 9020. But
Sweaty Developer 9000.
Look at how nice that looks.
Look at this adorable little router. That's the MikroTik router board. 4011 quad core, ARM v7, Giga RAM, and it has what plants crave, which is also a 10 gig link.
Nice.
I thought it was the pink fiber cable.
That is the pink fiber cable. That is the pink fiber cable. Also, OM4 doesn't have to be pink or lavender. Technically, it's lavender. Well, actually, Pedro.
Sorry, purple.
It looks like the pink of my shirt and my headphones. And my Use Me penguin.
Yeah. As you might have noticed, those rack ears, man, are comically adorable because the boxes, you think about it, it's only 10 RJ45s wide with some LEDs and like an SFP+.
Very narrow.
And it comes with rack ears. Like, why? And you pick it up, you're like, oh my. This is
Heavy
got
duty.
some weight behind it. It is just, it's thick, it's heavy, it's deceptively heavy. And probably just to keep it from like melting through your desk, because this isn't really designed as a home router, but it is still adorable sitting up there like in the middle. I was telling Pedro in the pre-show, if I walked into your data center and I saw that sitting in the rack, because you could use this in a medium like backbone situation because it's got that much grunt behind it. I'd have to go find somebody. I'm like, all right, tell me the story behind this thing. What's going on here?
What's that?
Thank you. Thank you so much, John. Hopefully that's going to let us. It has immediately enabled me to like lock it up way quicker than I could do with the 3011. Much more like proficient and just, still learning some things, but it's going to be able to do some actual queuing and prioritization that you typically don't see with like, I hit the QoS button on my router and it did a thing. Doing something a little bit different with tagging. So thanks again, man. That's
yeah.
I look forward to
you gotta write.
You gotta write his name on the wall.
Just put the J.
That's what I would.
Did you see the thing where neither of them were listening to where I'm going to send up a message before I do that? That part of the show? Neither of them were paying any attention to that. So much so that they needed to remind me.
I was listening, but then I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, same
well
here.
done, kids. Well done. Let's get a slice of pie.
It's a kawaii pumpkin pie.
That's a piece of nightmare is all that is.
No, it's cute.
Raspberry Pi can boot off an NVMe. Yes, that's right. We're going to be using them as servers now. Right, Pedro? I don't know.
No.
Are you sure? I
As
don't
someone
know.
who's had some experience with ARM SoCs and NVMe SSDs, thank you again for that, Pine 64. It knew.
Pedro, look, those numbers don't lie, dude.
Oh boy.
They really don't. They really don't. Yeah, no, as it turns out.
I don't have time to wait for Chromium to lie.
Yeah, Chromium is the most noticeable one. And what was the other one? It was they did the launching between NVMe, an NVMe drive in the little connector board for the Compute Module 4. And they put the same NVMe drive in a USB adapter and they plugged it into one of the USB 3 ports. There was a 1 second difference in boot between actual PCI NVMe and USB 3 over PCI. Yeah, no.
Servers. That's what I'm saying.
For mass storage, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, for big
it's great.
files, it'd be great.
Yeah, if you get a 1 terabyte NVMe, even if it's slow, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be fast because the CPU is where the bottleneck is.
Yeah.
That's it.
One of the things I'm thinking about with this is not necessarily so much as the speed, but this is the size of the NVMe drive, cost, and capacity. Because this makes it relatively cheap to stick a little piece of bubble gum in there that's 2 terabytes or 8 terabytes.
Yep.
Yeah.
The actual
nice
space that it takes for the amount of storage that it gives you, it still allows for a very small project too. So
that's interesting to see. All of the links for all this stuff is going to be in our show notes, so don't worry about that. Let's go for something that's like moderately fast to something that travels roughly at the speed of smell.
Yes.
Oh, I love these.
Definitely closer to the speed of smell. It's the Raspberry Pi floppy controller board. And I don't think it is floppy because that looks like your standard silicon-based PCB, but or fiberglass as the case may be. It controls floppy drives and allows the Pi to natively speak parallel ATA, and just get a 5¼ inch drive for your big old floppy disks, or your 3.5 inch floppies that were less floppy. Actually, the cases on those were fairly chunky, but yeah, you can get your Pi to act as the controller. And I was typing this, I wasn't even, it's like, oh, yeah, I know that it's for the purists that refuse, they will refuse those abominations that have a USB connector on them for reading and writing to floppy drives. And then I saw Jill type in the show notes, and was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because I said, because this is the only true way to turn your Raspberry into a 46 or an Apple II or a Mac SE. See, floppy drives, this one has 2.
Purist.
I don't know. I kind of think the only way to do it legitimately is to wear a black turtleneck. But I've always had a problem with calling the anything smaller than 5¼ with a non-floppiness to it, a floppy drive. That's always bothered me. Those in my head are now SEO icons.
Diskette.
Now it's
yeah,
SEO
the
icons.
diskette. Yeah.
Floppy drives you could fan yourself with. Like,
Yes.
Yes.
Well, the 8-inch ones even more so. Yes.
But hey, look at it this way. If you wanted to do like a legit, semi-legit, whatever, retro BBS, you could run it off a floppy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Honestly, just use that to start getting all of that information that you have on those floppy drives and get them all into solid state storage, please.
No. Real to real.
I know you really want the purity of the tenant.
Yeah. Yes.
Dark old days, man. Dark old days. All right. If you want to tell us about your dark old days, head over to linuxgamecast.com. We got a contact button. Smash it, fam. Do read the instructions. I got an email right before the show. It's like, hey, man, that big, like in bold where it says, warning, a copy and paste from press release containing hyperlinks will likely trigger, you guessed it, our spam golem. It will. And this particular person was like, hey, man, I likely triggered your spam golem. I think something's wrong with your contact form. Nay, it is working as intended. So, yeah, keep that in mind. If you get a question about the show, you just want to get in touch with us, that's how you do it. We're available, or hit me on social media or something like that. But I'm probably going to be like, hey, how's it going? Use contact form because, hey, it's easier to do it in email. Or if you got an idea for the show, or you just want to tell us about something you're working on, or maybe you got something like super sweet that you're working on, you want to come on, we'd love to have you on. We'll come talk to you. I wanted to say Wellington, but I'm not.
It's close enough.
It's Welton. Welton has a question.
Welton. Oh, not Wilton. Yeah, it doesn't have an I. It's got a W-E.
And this is a question I get regularly, so I decided I'm going to throw this in. I've done a couple of videos on how to get DaVinci Resolve up and running on Linux. Kind of popular because they show up when you search Google, how to install Resolve on Linux, and there you go. And he's got a Chromebook. Wow. He's like, hey man, I'm trying to download the software on a Chromebook, Debian 10. I bring this up because you can run Debian 10 on your Chromebook with a little bit of crouton magic. It's cool. I've been trying to do this, for hours, and I thought it would be better if I just asked you directly. Smart. Very smart. I went through every step, but when I used Make Resolve app and enter the code, the first it takes me much longer and shows way more code than yours. And at the end, it shows I have 22 errors. And most of those errors say that I don't have space. Is there actually a certain amount of space required? I have 3 gigs of space, by the way. Nebulous in this word space. I'm also using the Make Resolve version 145. Okay. To which I retorted, I'm going to save everyone a lot of time. And I'm not saying this because I'm being mean. I'm trying to save you some time here. Resolve's not going to work on a Chromebook at all. Not even a little bit. Okay. OBS on a Chromebook will at least give you the false hope of launching the interface before you realize, like, wait, I can't do anything on this? No, you can't. You wasted your time. Don't waste time with this. If you're talking about like 3 gigs of storage space, 3 gigabytes of storage space is 3 seconds of the video I'm recording right now. So, just no. It's not, people get offended. Like I'm attacking. I'm not attacking. Man, I think Chromebooks are neat, and Pedro will cut you if you talk bad about Chromebooks.
I like the Chromebooks. I do. I like laptops in general.
I'm genuinely thinking about buying one. Of course, I can take the keyboard off, then it'll be my Chrome tablet. And I hadn't made up my mind because then I saw that Lenovo's got like this 13-inch tablet, Android tablet coming out. That's all slick. And I'm like,
Dell makes a really nice Chromebook. They have, I think it's a 7400. It comes with the actual i5 CPU. It's like,
no, Pedro. John already got me a space heater. I don't need another one.
Yes.
That is legitimately one of my first thoughts. This is how miswired my brain is when I cut it on. I was like, man, I wonder if I could get that like under my feet. That'd be awesome. Keep your feet nice and warm. But yeah, Chromebooks, you're not going to be doing. Look into KDN Live. Look into OpenShot. Look into what else? Olive. You're going to need.
Yeah, Olive
would probably work.
They will all probably work. And Resolve, you can walk into what you would consider average computer specs, and we're not talking about a Chromebook, a regular PC. Resolve will mock you until you do GTFO. Because it is as much as people have like, they make these comparisons like, oh, it's, my desktop video. So it's not at all. Blackmagic they did it good by reducing the price, from $1,200 to $300, but that's put it within striking distance for people like me. Like, hey, I can use that in our little studio as opposed to not touching that. So more people are playing with it. It does have excessively high system requirements on Linux. One of those is 32 gigs of RAM. If you have however, if you have a Chromebook with 32 gigs of RAM, like email me. I want to see it. Yeah.
Actually, Flowbit Blade is another good option because it runs really well on older hardware. I've been played with that on older hardware.
So most of the Chromebooks have 32 gigs of eMMC storage.
Yeah, so they're slow.
That's it. That's all they have.
Okay, everyone. We played around long enough. We got to get out of here. I'm going to roll some credits. And we'll see you next week.
Yay! Someone was in here saying, get the Floppatron going. I think it was Artherin. Gonna have Floppatron music of our outgoing music. It's gotta be in Floppatron, Ben.
If I'm gonna do Floppatron, I'm just gonna mic up a bunch of fish on the floor.
Yeah, it was Artherin. Engage
Floppy,
the Floppatron.
To be fair, that Floppatron sounds better than the PC speaker I used to play Doom on, so there's that.
Dude, the fact that there was sound and Doom on the PC speaker was amazing.
Oh, I know. Yeah, PC speaker. Yeah. We thought we were so cool being able to get that to work.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.